What's going on, everyone? So, some Spurs reporters were discussing the problem that the Spurs have, which isn't really a problem. I mean, they even address it's a good problem to have, which is their, who plays, who starts, right? Got Devin Vassell, who's back. Jeremy Sohan is supposed to return sooner rather than later. And it's just kind of like this question of, how do they structure this starting unit? The Spurs are winning, right? Harrison Barnes has been great, so there's an argument for him to start, right? Stephon Castle has been just the Swiss Army knife for this team. He's been fantastic in that regard. Champagnie, right? He's turning into a legit 3-and-D wing here. So it's just what do you do with Vassell and, Sohan? How do you structure the starting units? Obviously, Vassell is your guy, but it's okay, well, Jeremy Sohan. Now, I know a lot of Spurs fans can't stand Jeremy Sohan, right? It's kind of funny. Every time I talk about Jeremy Sohan, I get one crowd that's he's the greatest, he's this, he's that, right? A better Draymond Green and Dennis Rodman. And then I get other side that's he's trash, trade him for a bag of chips, right? Get that guy off my team. I think it's kind of funny, but look, the Spurs are very high on Jeremy Sohan. He was having a very good season before he got hurt, right? So there is a genuine argument of him kind of being in the starting unit. Me personally, it's just me. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comments. But me personally, I actually prefer kind of sticking with what you got, right? I understand moving Castle, right? If you wanted to move Castle and then have Devin Vassell, right? So, I think Chris Paul, Vassell, Champagnie, Barnes, and Victor Wembanyama is your best unit right now, currently, right? Jeremy Sohan, again, he was great. He was playing well. But I just like the shooting that Harrison Barnes provides, as well as he's having a great season on both sides of the basketball. And I just think he's comfortable, he fits, he's that veteran presence, he's the guy that kind of keeps things settled, him and Chris Paul. I really like that 5-man unit of, again, Vassell, along with Chris Paul, along with Champagnie, along with Harrison Barnes and Victor Wembanyama. I just think that gives you the best balance. You have legit wing, size, versatility. Look, you're not worried about interior defense. Victor Wembanyama can stand at the 3-point line and block shots at the rim. The guy's 8 feet tall, right? He's got a 20-foot wingspan. In reality, he's got an 8-foot wingspan, but you get the point, right? You're not worried about that. You're worried about the perimeter defense, slowing guys down on the perimeter, being able to funnel guys to Wemby so he can kind of clean up the mess, You need that balance of, Wemby's got the paint. There's no one else in the league that can cover the ground that he covers outside of, maybe Anthony Davis, right? But Wemby's just so long and lengthy, right? Anthony Davis, I think, is, one of the best. And I know people are going to be like, you're a Laker guy. Of course you think he's best. No, I mean, even remove the Laker bias. Even when he was on the Pelicans, guy was one of the best defensive players, if not the best defensive player. Wemby and AD are at the top. Right? However you feel about the players, they are at the top. Wemby, I just think because of his size, his length, his ability to just move his feet at the size and length that he is, I think he's the guy. I even said that I thought Victor Wembanyama last season should have won Defensive Player of the Year, right? I just think if you were going to give it to anybody outside of Anthony Davis last year, because Anthony Davis was tremendous defensively, it should have been Victor Wembanyama because he was the best defensive player last year. Shouldn't have went to Rudy Gobert, right? Rudy Gobert wasn't even top 5 in total defense, right? Again, I understand he led the top defense in the league, but is this a team award or is this an individual award? Wemby should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. He's probably going to win it this year. And if he doesn't win it, it better go to Anthony Davis because those are the 2 best defensive guys. Right? So Wemby covers the defensive stance. I know I kind of went on a rant there, but it's just because I know somebody's going to be like, of course, right? But look, he's got the interior. You need the perimeter defense, right? You need that balance. You need the 3-point shooting. You need the playmaking that Chris Paul provides. You need him to have those outlets, right? Have a guy in Devin Vassell who can just go to work, go get you buckets. I just think that's the best balanced starting 5 that you have, right? But it is a good problem to have if you're the Spurs because there is a genuine argument for multiple guys. And something I talked about in the offseason, particularly with Champagnie, right? I talked about how he was killing it in Summer League. And it's not Summer League, preseason, right? He was lights out, right? Defense, everything you want. Legit 3-and-D guy. Well, he's been that all this season thus far. Like, he's been very good, like very good. And it was like, okay, well, if he's great, like what they're hoping, like if he's able to maintain what he's doing in preseason, in the regular season, I think you're going to have to keep him in the starting lineup. Lo and behold, he's doing it. I think you have to keep him in the starting lineup. I think he's your answer at the 3 for now and the future, right? And then again, you have Mamu and, Wesley, and you have, Ty Jones or Trey Jones, sorry. And then you have, Sohan, right? Like, you have all these guys that can fill out and play these roles off the bench. You're deep, you're versatile, you're talented, right? Obviously, if somebody has it some night, Keldon Johnson, right? I forgot about him, right? Keldon Johnson's lighting it up and he's on pace to give you 30, then fine, leave him in the game over like a Champagnie or something like that, right? Like, it's a luxury if you're the Spurs to have that flexibility of like, okay, we can go with the hot hand if need be. These are our main 5, but if Jeremy Sohan is just having this game and he's just clamping up defensively and he's just nearly triple-double and he's generating so much value for us this game, then fine. Hey, Barnes, sorry, buddy, like, look at come on, you see what Sohan's doing right now, right? Like, and Barnes is the guy that's going to be like, okay, fine. Like, I don't think it makes sense to bring Barnes off the bench. Like, that's kind of the argument. That was kind of the argument that was posed. I just think he adds so much value to this team, in particular that starting unit, right? He gives you that balance. He gives you that defense. He gives you that switchability out on the wing. He gives you that three-point shooting. He's shooting incredibly well from three-point range, right? But it's just, again, it gives you that calm, right? Like, you could argue to start Barnes or start like Sohan and then finish with Barnes, but like, what's the point? Then you might as well just start Barnes, right? Like, and I've said this and I've made the argument, right? Starting is just a vanity metric, right? Like, if you start but you only play 5 minutes, who cares, right? Like, or 10 minutes or whatever, and the guy behind you is playing 40, like, who cares, right? Like, starting is vanity metric. It's like, who's in the game when it matters? Who's in the game at the end of the games when you need to close out? To me, I think if you're the Spurs, that should be based on, obviously, you're not going to sit Wemby if he's having bad. You get my point. Like, the other guys. Like, if Harrison Barnes doesn't have it tonight, fine. Hey, Barnes, sorry, buddy. You got to hit the bench. We're going to go with Sohan, or we're going to go, with Mamu, or we're going to go with whatever, right? Like, boom, there you go. Right? Like, that's how I would kind of maximize this roster. Like, you got depth, you keep minutes low, you kind of keep guys healthy and in shape. You're above 500. You're looking like a playoff team. You just kind of keep pace, right? Like, I think that's the case, and have Stephon Castle, again, continue to just be that Swiss Army knife. And because you can plug him in essentially 1 through 3, right? Like, so, it's like, hey, let's roll out this unit and then have Castle. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Like, okay, let's go with this unit, have Mamu and Sohan out there, right? Like, I just think you can match whatever teams are throwing at you with the depth, the talent on this roster. Again, I don't think the Spurs are like a contender or anything like that, but I do think that they could be a very good team. And I talked about this in the offseason. I talked about how I thought the Spurs, I wouldn't be shocked if they were a play-in, maybe a playoff team, but I thought that they'd at least potentially make the play-in, right? Because I don't underestimate the value of Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes and what they can do for this team, and you're seeing it. You're seeing the impact that they're having on this team immediately, right? Obviously, Wemby's great and doing Wemby things, but beyond him, right, it's like, okay, what is everyone else doing? Champagnie is really emerging. This was kind of like his last shot. It was kind of like, okay, well, if he has another kind of poor season or another inconsistent season, because you saw like moments with him, but it was like, okay, if he has another inconsistent season, like, what do you do? Right? You got to, at some point, kind of look to get off of him, right? That was kind of the conversation with, like, him and Wesley and guys like that. And lo and behold, you gave him that shot. Now, look, like, now I don't think you can bench Champagnie. I don't think you can bench Harrison Barnes. I just think you have something that's working right now. Stick to it. Right? As soon as you start changing stuff and doing all this, like, you have a unit that works. And it's not like Sohan is so good. It's like, man, he's our second star, right? Like, it's nothing like that. I like Sohan as a player. I think he's a very versatile player. Spurs are very high on Sohan, but bring him off the bench, right? Keep Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, have Champagnie, with Harrison Barnes and then Victor Wembanyama, and that's your five-man unit. Right? Again, you can kind of plug in and poke in whatever you need whenever you need it. That's the value. That's the value of this team and this roster. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What do you think the five-man unit should be? Do you think that there is, like, a question? Or do you think that, like, no, like, it's very clear, it's very obvious? Again, like I said, it's a good problem to have. I don't really think it's a problem. I think it's clear. Like, this is your five. These are the five that you should be running. These are the five that are winning for you. You know, you're 12 deep. That's fine. Play all the guys, trickle in minutes. And like I said, stick with the hot hand. Stick with the guy that's got it tonight. Right? Like, again, you can kind of poke and put in whatever you need to put in. You kind of move pieces around. Okay, like Castle's just, he's a rookie. He's having a rookie night, right? Like, okay, like, hey, buddy, sorry. Like, we got to go with, Wesley. We got to go with Keldon more, or like whatever, right? Keldon, again, like I said, is just having one of those lights out nights. It's like, hey, buddy, like, hey, Vassell, sorry, like, dude, Champagnie is just the defense tonight. And like, that's the beauty, is like, you can kind of maneuver and do whatever you need in order to put out the best five men or close out the best five men possible. But, again, how you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I would love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.